Is there anything that you would like to tell the audience or anything about you or your work?
Mm, well, I'm not like any of the villains. I want that to be clear.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't really feel, I don't know. I think maybe as I have more and more roles, I might have something else to say, but I just want to, I mean, nothing about me. I just want to thank everyone who watches these because you've enabled all of us like actors to be able to do the thing we love.
Yeah. Does social media and viewer feedback play a role in how you approach your characters?
Um, Not necessarily for me. It hasn't yet. That I'm not going to say it won't.
Mm.
Um, I think it's just I am constantly trying to just do the best job that I can, and so every time I get a script, I want to make sure that I'm bringing it to life in a way that's respectful, but also honest and everything. So, um, I haven't seen too many comments about anything I've done. You kind of want to be careful with that. You don't want to read too much of the good stuff or too much of the bad stuff,
Yeah,
because neither of it is 100% true, and you don't want to let yourself be influenced by it. But I mean, I haven't had any real negative experiences with anyone saying anything too terrible about me personally. I'm sure they will at some point, but yeah, I don't know. It hasn't really affected me in any sort of way yet.
that's good. That's good.
Mm,
Um, I had a question now, I forgot what it was. No, you got me
no
stumped there. I was
problem.
thinking about what you were saying and then I forgot what I was going to say.
No problem.
Um, what do you think makes a performance unforgettable?
Um, I think there's just certain performances you see where you're just like, that person was so right for that job and they just nailed it and they knocked it out of the park and they were honest and maybe it was a piece of truth from their own life that they brought into it. But I think it's always like a small thing, I think like obviously bigger scenes, bigger emotional scenes are always a chance for someone to kind of flaunt and show off their acting. But I think it's always like a really subtle thing that stands out that makes a performance memorable. Like, sometimes you'll see someone kind of stumble over a word and you're like, did they do that on purpose? Did they not? And sometimes those are like the moments that resonate the most. I think any sort of thing that is just so obviously not intentional acting, but that stands out to you. If someone's just being honest, those are the moments that are the best, I think.
I have one more question. How do you stay grounded in a scenario where it's so distracting on set with all the cameras and the people around you?
It depends. Honestly, sometimes if it's like a really important scene, like I will just sit there and cover my face and try and block everything out, and sometimes even cover my ears because I just want to make sure I'm not, I'm actually only thinking about my own thing. And it's tough because I get really distracted and I also like talking to people. So it's like
Mm.
if I hear the camera guys talking and they're talking about something funny, it's hard for me to not be like, to be disciplined and not jump in and try to joke around with them. But I think it's like, if there's a room to stand alone for a minute and just kind of collect myself, I'll do that. Or like I said, if it's really got to be a private moment and there's no chance for privacy on set, then you kind of have to make your own privacy and cover your ears and
Yeah,
kind of close your eyes just for a minute.
yeah, okay. What's the longest set days you've had? Like, how long have you had to work?
I've never had to go, let's see. I've been very fortunate. Most of the sets I've worked on, we were able to get things done. I mean, the longest day for me, I was a villain in something. I can't remember what it was, but it was a really ambitious day. I think we were shooting 20 or 25 pages. And I the reason it was long for me was I was only in the last scene.
So
So
you
I
just had
showed
to
up, I
wait.
showed up in the morning and sat until like 8 p.m. at night just to do this one scene, which is I don't
Mm,
mind being there. I'm happy to be there for as long as we need to get everything done. But just sitting around waiting, you're kind of like, all right, can we do this? Can we do the one scene and I can leave? So that
yeah,
was
can we
fine.
get this out of the way? Yeah,
Yeah, I'll leave, and then you won't have to worry about me. I'll be gone.
yeah. Oh, but it gives you a chance to watch your other actors and your co-stars and see what they're doing. Definitely.
100%. Or you just hang out and get to know everyone, and that's a nice thing
Mm.
because I mean these sets are so quick. You're only there like
Yeah.
6 to 10 days, usually 5 to 10 days. And but because you're there for 12 plus hours, you really get to spend so much time with people in such a short amount of time and develop kind of a, I mean, think about anywhere else you've ever met someone, you only probably met them for an hour at a time. These people you're with
Yeah.
12 hours a day for, so you kind of really get to cram a lot of getting to know each other into such a short window. And
Yeah.
that's some of the most fun, kind of finding a way to kill time. If someone brought like cards, you can play cards with each other. There's interesting
Yeah.
ways we tend, because you can only sit and look at your phone for so long. So
Mm.
it's always I've had a lot of fun. Some of the memories that I like cherish the most are the scenes where or between scenes when you get to hang out with your co-stars and the crew people.
Yeah. Have you worked with the same people a few times?
I've worked, yes, and that's a lot of fun. I've worked with, I don't think I've ever worked with the same actors twice, but I've worked with the same director. And it's really nice because, you can develop a relationship and then you feel more, every time you just feel more comfortable around them. Um, but I don't think I've worked with the same actors. Not yet, no.
Mm. How do you find building chemistry with the co-stars? Like you wouldn't have much time beforehand, like we were saying. How do you make it easier to build chemistry with
I think
characters?
just I think just being friendly and talking to them in any way, the way you would talk to anyone you're trying to get to know and obviously not forcing anything, but I think just I think you hit the nail on the head. It's like you don't have much time, but you just want to get comfortable with each other and I think also sometimes the chemistry develops. It's nice when you don't have to do any of the intimate scenes on the first day because then you've had a
Mm.
chance to kind of get to know each other and kind of get more comfortable. And so I would generally say it's nicer when they do the intimacy scenes later on or even on the second or third day because by then you will have had a chance to kind of get to know each other. And whether it's chemistry or just a level of comfortability with each other, those can
Yeah.
both be so huge for making it a
Yeah,
better.
definitely. I've heard a few times that it's some characters got some people get in there and they have to film an intimate scene first up and they don't know the
Mhm.
people and they said it's very awkward. But
It is. I've had to do that. And I ended up becoming friends with everyone there. But yeah, it was like I got there, shook everyone's hand, and they were like, all right, go in for the intimacy scene. And I was like, I just met this person, you know?
yeah, yeah,
Oh my
that must
God.
be hard.
Yeah, I think the nice thing is everyone's aware of the circumstances, and so there's you kind of are all in this uncomfortable thing together, and that makes it more comfortable for you.
Yeah. Okay. Um, how do you find going from an in like a very extreme emotional scene to a deep, like a really big dramatic scene? Like, how do you find the switch and which one is it easier for you to get to?
Um, I think it's easier for me to get to kind of like, I mean, I can do both, but I think it's easier for me to get to something that's a little bit more um like a dramatic kind of fight or something like that. Um, it just kind of is easier to get yourself excited instead of trying to like kind of calm yourself down to be um, kind of in a lower, like I'm trying to think of the way to say it, but like if I were to sit and have to pour my heart out to someone, I think it's easier to have a scene where I have to yell at someone than to do that.
Yeah.
So, but the good news is I always find that like as soon as the scene's over, I'm able to pretty much kind of drop out of whatever I was in. Sometimes it can linger, but it's never been something that affected me and was made me incapable of within 20 or 30 minutes moving on to the next scene.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard with the emotional scenes, some people have to dive into their own personal lives to get to that point, and some
hmm
people use the character and put the character in that scene to get there. Which one do you think works best for you?
Well, the way I was taught was kind of like the school I went to was kind of like try to avoid using things that have happened because it could, trigger something in you and make you
Yeah.
really upset and could traumatize, could be bringing up your own trauma. And
Yeah.
B, if you've healed from it, then it probably won't affect you as much as you want it to. So
Okay.
I try to do, I mean, I have used what my teacher used to say was, I think she said, don't use real life, but use real meaning. So like I can put people I know into certain situations and then that can really make me live through something. But I don't generally try to use things that have already happened to me. I just feel like it's kind of risky or it might not work. But I think, taking the relationships and the things in your life that do matter, and using those people strategically in your mind can be so helpful.
That's good advice,
And I
actually.
also, yeah, or so like, or just kind of if you read the script and you're like, you're like, can feel like a change in your pulse when you read a certain scene, it's like, I don't think you have to go too far then. I think you've kind of found that this resonates with you and you can just live through it.
Yeah. Okay. What are some challenges that you face on set that others outside the field might not recognize?
Mm, yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of times it's funny, I think we already talked about this, but when you see these things in the finished product and the intimacy scenes look great, but sometimes like we said, you're just meeting someone right before you do the scene.
Mm.
Um, I'm trying to think what else, I remember one of the scenes we had to shoot, we had to pretend like it wasn't freezing outside, but it was like, below freezing in New York. So there's all these
Yeah.
like little things. And I think the stuff we talked about before is like if you see a beautiful close up on someone and it's a really moving shot, it's like, yeah, but imagine how close the camera had to be to their face, like it is weird in the moment to do it. And so it's all these little things that I think when a performance or a movie comes out and it looks really great and effortless. It's like, that's a magic trick because so much effort had to go into it behind the scenes every step of the way. And I also think the thing that stood out to me most with with being on a set is like I remember being a kid and when I would see a movie and then the credits would roll, I would be like, why do you need all these people? And then when you're on a
Yeah.
set, you realize you need every single one of those people. Every person is so important. And so
Yeah.
it's interesting to see like how when a production's going well, it's like a well-oiled machine where there's like a million people all doing different things, but it works beautifully together if everyone does their job,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen, like you said, those credit lists and they just go on and on and on. And you're like, why? Why?
Yeah,
But yeah,
a hundred
every,
percent. And then
they're all vital. And you, like, the crew is very important. I mean, I try to give a lot of credit to the crew for these because a lot of people just focus on the actors, which, they're watching the actors, they don't see the crew. But if it wasn't for them, none of this would be possible. So,
you're 100% right. And that's the other thing is it's like the interesting thing is when you are an actor in one of these, it's like yeah, you're spending a lot of time with your co-stars, but you're spending just as much time with the crew. And so it's like,
yeah.
even though none of that's captured on camera, like you joke around with these people, you have lunch with these people. And so it's kind of interesting to think like, despite what you see on the screen of only two, three, or four people, like the other 20 people there were as between every take were there to joke around with or to share stories with and stuff. So there's like a whole more than half that you just don't even see.
Yeah. And it's such an important part as well. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're huge. Absolutely.
yeah. Okay. I got one last question, and I'm hoping my
Mhm.
research held up for this one.
Okay.
You were in a short film called Today's the Day?
Yes.
Yes. Apparently, you did multiple things in that, acting, writing, and producing.
Yeah, that was a short. A friend of mine came to me with a silly idea for something a few years ago that she wanted to make, and she wanted me to be in it with her. I can't remember if she asked me to write it with her or to be in it with her, but eventually she was kind enough to let me help. We co-wrote it, and then we shot it. It was such a funny concept. It's very childish, but it was very funny. The concept is a couple breaking up on the day of their wedding, but they have to do it. This is so childish. While she's on the toilet because she's having horrible nerves. So
Okay.
it's just a complete. We shot it to be a completely, it was going to be funny, of course, but we wanted all the writing to be just dramatic and have like a
Mm.
dramatic thing between the two of us. And so we did that last year and we shot it at my parents' house in New Jersey. And it was really funny because it was a small house. So like, the cameraman, the boom guy, and the director were all laying in the bathtub like next to each other while trying to shoot this thing. Um, it was really silly.
How was that? How was that filming experience different to a vertical for you? Like,
Well, it was so short, and we had like we had a day to shoot it, and the whole thing was like 5 minutes. So I mean, I don't know what
oh,
it was,
okay.
4 pages, and so we just really got to like do as many takes as we wanted to do to get everything right, and it was a smaller crew because it was only like six of us, I think, or seven of us. But yeah, I mean, you realize how like a good vertical set is an incredible machine of like,
Yeah.
we're going to get all the shots we can as quickly as possible, but you still have to take time to set them up, like 30 minutes, 40 minutes sometimes to set up a shot. And, you know, so it was funny because this is like the thing we shot with my friends was even lower budget than verticals by a lot.
Mm.
But we had more time to do it. Whereas on verticals, it's like you get one take, maybe two takes, and then we got to move on.
Yeah. Well, the experience must be different for a lot of things like, even like the bigger, I think verticals are big, so I class them as big time things as well. But like a mainstream thing, you get a lot more time to do everything. So
Mm.
I praise you guys for doing it on the go so quickly and stuff.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
yeah.
yeah, it is pretty incredible, um, what like a gigantic production, like just how many moving parts there are. But yeah, I would
Mm,
say I don't disagree with you that like a vertical comparative compared to what I shot with my friends is a much bigger thing, and you have a full crew, and
mm.
every single person is vital, and you realize that when you're there, like without all of these moving parts, like this couldn't happen.
Yeah. Okay, before we go, is there any advice that you can give anybody that's looking to get into the vertical industry?
I would say just keep submitting. Just every
Mm,
time you see something that you are vaguely interested in, apply to it, and hopefully you get a chance to audition for it. I mean, it's a real numbers game. There's a lot of verticals being made, which is wonderful. There's a lot of opportunities for us to work.
mm.
Um, and I would just say, just be truthful and have fun and be easy to get along with on set. That's usually the key. I think that's such an important rule for everyone is just be amenable and be polite and be fun to be around, and then everyone on set can have a really nice time.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to have this interview with me today. I appreciate it. I know that you're busy. So,
Oh, thank you for having me. Are you kidding me? I was thrilled to do it. I'm looking behind you. What are those squirrels?
oh,
What are,
up down here
yeah.
or up there? These are my
Well,
meerkats. My
those are
meerkats.
meerkats. Okay.
Yeah, they're my favorite.
I love
And
those.
then I always, this is a painting my stepmother did for me.
That's
It-
great. I love
yeah,
that.
yeah. So he's featured because he's really cool.
That's great.
But yes,
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me, Kathy. I really appreciate it.
anytime, anytime. Well, you have a good night, and I will
You
talk to you
too.
again very soon.
All right, thank you so much.
Thanks.